Y'all, first of all, I thought about waiting to do part two for Love is Blind season 3. Remember, I came here earlier this week. I told y'all that there would be a couple more episodes, which they did give us um, they gave us the finale with the rest of the weddings, and they gave us a reunion. And I don't know. It's just a TV show, and the reason why I'm just recording it today because I want to be done with it. Today is Wednesday. I went ahead and watched the last 2 episodes. I'm done with it. All I gotta say is, first of all, I don't know who's gonna be mad. I don't care who's gonna be mad. Zainab is a manipulative bitch. A manipulative, insecure bitch. Now, gorgeous woman. She's absolutely gorgeous, but she's extremely manipulative. And this is what I was saying in my last review. I'm just like, I'm not blaming Cole for her being insecure. I'm just not gonna do it. But let's take a step back. So actually, let's just go couple over couple. So let's start with them, because they got me hot, and y'all got me out here protecting this white man that don't need no protecting. Okay, but I feel bad because I'm just like, girl, it was you. It was you. I'm sorry. Not all of you, but the majority of the issues between Cole and Zainab was Zainab. And it was because of her, like I said, her lack of having parents at a young age, caused her to be insecure, caused her to be guarded, caused her to be bitchy, and caused her to almost have to take care of herself. I think she mentioned something in the show of like, I've never lived with anyone, and I've never actually dated someone where I was like, hey, bring an overnight bag. Like, she likes her space. I'm the same way. I can relate. I don't like people in my space. But she was very nitpicky with Cole. Okay, so anyway, look. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take a step back because I'm a little annoyed. So, Cole and Zainab, I believe Cole was gonna say yes. She said no. She literally read him down, told him, you made me insecure. I've never met anyone who made me feel like this, and you're a terrible person, you're a shitty person, and I'm not gonna marry you. I felt so bad for him, and he stood there in tears. His friends comforted him, and he was bawling, and those are real tears. I'm talking about his whole face was red, his eyes were red like waterworks. He was genuinely hurt. I do believe he was going to say yes. He was reassuring his friends, like, no, like, I really want to be with her. I love her. And he said something very poignant. He said, he was like, I don't know where this came from, because she really like read him down at the altar. She didn't just say no. She went on a tirade of just like, I don't know. I just was not here for it. But he said something very poignant. He said, she did this on purpose, and she wanted to say all of these mean things in front of all of these people because she wanted to hurt me. Now, 100% agree. 100% agree. Like, she left and went, back to the changing area. She wasn't hurt. She wasn't crying. She was fine. He was in shambles. Like, he was genuinely hurt. And again, listen, y'all making me take up for these white man tears, and there's no such thing. But there is a such thing, just like being human, honestly. Like, all jokes aside, I think that she's a bitch. I'm sorry, Zainab. She talked about how he ruined her self-esteem, and that, she brought up some story about how she was gonna eat 2 cuties, the little orange or nectarines or whatever. And he was like, wow, are you gonna eat 2? And that made her, she was starving herself, and she didn't want to eat around him because basically he was making her feel insecure and fat. And he starts bawling. This was at the end, and he's like, play the clip. He's like, if I did that, play it. They played the clip, and it was nothing like how she would have wanted people to have seen it. They were in the kitchen, they were talking. To me, it clearly looks like maybe 5 or 6 p.m., right? It's end of day. Still daylight outside, but it looks like it's the end of the day. And they're just talking, and he's just excited. Honestly, is Cole ready to be married? No, absolutely not. I would have wanted him to say no, because he's not ready to be someone's husband. Like, let me not take away from the fact that I don't believe he was ready to be anyone's husband. He comes off as very young and immature, and so I won't take that from her, but her reasoning to me was manipulative, and I saw it. I called it in the last video. In my comments of the last video, if you didn't see the first part of the series, please go back and watch that video. I appreciate everyone who has watched so far. But no, he wasn't ready to be a husband. No. But the way that they played the clip about the cuties, it looks like they were going to go out to dinner soon. And so while they're in the kitchen and he's rambling like a child, like bouncing off of the walls, our parents should do this and I should meet this, and like a child, honestly. She picks up a cutie, an orange, nectarine, whatever. And he's like, you're going to eat two? And she was like, yeah, that's the serving. And he was like, oh. He was like, I want you to save it. I want you to, save your appetite, because we're going to eat. I want you to have an appetito. Like, he was being funny, and it was very much not him coming for her weight or calling her fat or even insinuating her being fat. Now, he did some motion like, you don't want to do something. And she's like, well, all I had was a banana today. And he was like, why? Why did you only eat a banana today? He was like, I even offered you food. And she's like, oh, I know, but all I had was a banana. So she gets on this reunion and portrays it as if he was just this horrible person, and he was calling her fat and making her feel like a terrible, fat, evil person. And it's like, no, Zainab, it wasn't like that. And I'm glad that they showed it. I'm so glad that they showed it, because when he was in tears, I was like, I believe him. I believe him. He was crying real tears. And let me say this. I don't know what's going on today. I've been so emotional today. I'm not about to come on my period or anything like that, but like, I'm going to go off track. Let me go off track just a little bit. Just stay with me. I am a Scorpio. I do feel like I am an empath, and lately a lot of people have been coming to me with their issues, and a lot of people have been crying around me and to me. And I'm always there to listen. Always, always, always. I love everyone around me, so I welcome that. And I've been holding up. I haven't been faced. I've been first of all, I'm in a great mood. I'm in a great place. My career is well. My family's well. I feel good. I look good. Okay. Like, I've been such in a good mood, but today, for some reason, I don't know, you guys, like, I just felt so, and maybe not everyone connects with, oh, you're a Scorpio, listen, it doesn't matter if you believe in those things or not. For me, I'm just going off of my experiences in life, and I have just been so empathetic to everyone around me. It started off, I finally watched Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Haven't watched that show in a month, and even then I wasn't watching every week. And I saw with Scrappy and his mom, with Mama D, he was feeling it, and that literally brought me to tears. And then I watched this, and then Cole is bawling, and I felt it. I felt it. It was very sincere. So to me, I felt it. It was sincere. And she basically played the story up. And it sucks because everyone on the stage, with the exception of Bartiste and a little bit of SK, everyone else was just like really against him. And I didn't think it was fair. Zainab came off very cold and very just kind of wanting him to be the villain in her victim story. And I wasn't here for it. I saw straight through it. And I hated that for him. So I'm glad they showed the cutie story. He absolutely was not fat shaming her or making her feel away. She's insecure. She's got her own issues, and she just wanted someone to blame. And now she's acting like she's this, I'm a new woman and you broke me down and I came through and I survived. Girl, shut the shut the fuck up. All right, enough of her, enough of them. Whatever. Alexa and Brennan. Alexa and Brennan are another two. Shut the fuck up. Alexa, girl, you're all jumping over Cole, jumping on Bartiz, you're just jumping on everyone. Girl, let me tell you something. It's clear that you don't think that you have any flaws. And the flaws that you do have, people won't hold against you. Like, okay, maybe you're a little overweight. Maybe you're not the nicest person. Like, these are not the things that people will necessarily hold against you. And so you know that, and you lead with those things that people won't pick at. But let me tell you a little something. And let me tell you, I was watching it. I call her Roseanne. And I know that's mean, and I am not a mean person. I am an asshole, but I am not a mean person. But I was watching, like, shut the fuck up, Roseanne. Like, you look like Roseanne sitting up there. And I'm being dramatic, and I'm being extreme. She does look really pretty. But it was just this air of just, like, me and Brennan are so perfect. And our only issues were sharing a closet. And, like, shut up. I didn't like that her and Brennan kept jumping in on everyone else's story. You're not the mom and dad of the crew. You're not the leader of the crew. Sit back, shut up. If you didn't have issues, great. If you want to support people, great. But coming at people as if you're better than them, you're not. And Brennan was doing the same thing. And I'm like, oh, you've picked that up from her. Because you've come from very humble beginnings, Mr. I didn't have heat. I didn't have lights. I didn't have water. I didn't have, like, really, I got a headache even. They gave me a headache. Moving on. Raven and SK. I was so happy to hear. Oh, well, yes, Alexa and Brennan, they both said hi. They both said yes at the wedding. Whatever. Raven and SK. We know that SK said no and Raven was hurt. I mentioned in my last video that when his mom came up to her, she like checked on Raven first before she even checked on her son. I could tell that they had a connection. They were crying. I told you guys, like, I felt it, like that was a real moment. It was a beautiful moment. So to hear that SK and Raven are still dating, I'm very happy for them. I think that Raven really was into him. I think that Raven reminds me a little of myself. And so what I see in her is that she's found this man that, no, he's not perfect, but he is a man. Like, he is husband material. He is a stand-up guy. He speaks his mind. He's put together. He's educated. He's family oriented. Like, he has all of these things on the list. And I think that maybe from a looks perspective, if it was purely on looks, maybe he wouldn't be her first choice. But as I mentioned in my last video, he's not attractive, but he's handsome. And ladies, you guys know, ladies, a man can be so ugly, but if he's handsome, meaning he puts himself together, he carries himself well, we're attracted to that. We're attracted to that. So he's not cute, but he is absolutely handsome, and that makes him more attractive. So I'm glad to hear that they're both still dating. His reasoning for saying no made sense, so I wasn't upset with him. He was planning to move far away to California right after the show, right after they would have gotten married, so it made sense. So I'm glad that they're still dating. Raven looked beautiful. He looked really good and handsome, so I'm happy for them. I'm happy for. Colleen and Matt. Oh, Colleen. I feel really bad because Colleen looks like a battered woman. I'm sorry, but Colleen is so, when she came onto the show, she seemed very outgoing and bubbly, and I'm a ballerina. All of that, which she addressed that, like, I'm more than a ballerina. Well, girl, that's what you were leading with. And it was the Joffrey Ballet. So shout out to the people in my last video who made that comment. I did remember after. She's not in the Joffrey Ballet, but like all that ballerina talk, you were leading with that. So yes, everyone did think that's all you had to bring to the table. But she seemed very passive and very muted and very, I don't know, just very inwardly, just not how she was when she came on the show. And guess what? You know, maybe that's growth. I don't know, but she looked like a battered woman to me. I'm sorry, she looked like a battered woman. Every time she brought up, which they brought up several times, the conversation that her and Cole had at the pool, where Cole was saying he found her attractive, she was in tears about it. And I'm like, Matt traumatized her to the point that she can't even talk about that interaction. She's like, oh my God, because I just love Zaynab so much, and I respect you, and I respect Matt, and I'm so in love with Matt. On that stage, she was doing a lot of reassuring, and he was too, which I'm happy that it seemed more balanced, but unfortunately, I don't see them making it. I know she's saying she's in love with him and da-da-da, but she seemed like a battered woman to me. And I don't take that lightly, and I'm not making fun of that. I can imagine him just being extremely emotionally abusive. That's what he gave on the show. I was so upset that they did not address it. And how I know that he is that type of person, almost a narcissist, he got in front of it. Because Cole, they tore Cole a new asshole. They damn near tore Bartise a new asshole. When it got to Matt, I was waiting for them to hold him to the fire and say, why were you being so aggressive? Why were you being so emotionally abusive? Why were you gaslighting her? Why? And before they could even address it, he jumped in front of it and said, yes, I was so passionate, but that's the realness, that's the love, that's the rawness of it, and it was so real. And I appreciate that and I respect that, but more than it just being so raw and so real, you were being an asshole and you were being emotionally abusive. So the both of them said yes. She said yes first. So I was wrong on that one. I think that speech that Zaynab gave, Colleen needed to have that speech for Matt. That would have been well deserved. She didn't do it. She's happy. Congratulations to them. Cheers, I guess. Lastly, Old Face Nancy and Bartise. I hated that man bun that Bartise had on his fucking head. He still had his fucking Kid and Play high top fade. He put it in a puff. And it was just like, Bartise, where the fuck are you going? With the slit in your eye. Where are you going? I do like so Nancy said yes. Bartise said no. And I knew he would say no. I knew he would say no. So I was correct about that one. He said no. Her brother was ready to fight. He was pissed. The mom was pissed. Like Nancy's family, they were pissed. They were absolutely pissed. And, you know, rightfully so. Like, her brother had every right to want to protect her. Her mom had every right. But they kept trying to impede on the conversation they were trying to have. I think Bartise was just talking out of his ass, honestly. He was just talking. And I'm glad that Nancy stood up for herself and was like, listen, this is over. You don't want to marry me. We don't have anything to talk about. We don't have anything to work on. They did talk about how, I guess, a couple of days, this piece of hair sticking up. They did talk about how, I guess, a couple of days after the wedding, he was spotted somewhere in a club with some chick. Well, he said no. So what else does he owe you? He doesn't owe you a grace period. He said no. Now, if you said yes and he said no and you were spotted a couple of days later with another man, that would be different because you were just going to say yes. That looks weird. But for him to have said no and then be with someone else, that's not weird to me. And here goes Alexa. Well, it was just fucked up. Shut the fuck up, Roseanne. I don't like when these shows make me mean. Anyway, but anyway, they tried to give it to Bartise. I'm glad he held his own. Nancy still looks old in the face, like her makeup under her eyes, the way it was caking. I was just like, I'm sorry, girl, but like Bartise, looks younger than what he is. And girl, you look literally double your age. You were 32 at the time of the show. I'm assuming you're 33 now. You look 66. You look 66 with makeup on. Like, Nancy, it was never gonna work because you look like someone's grandmother, and I'm sorry. You know, in certain lights, I think she did look okay, and I could see them together, like if I squinted my eyes really like tight. But overall, it just wasn't gonna work. It wasn't gonna work with him or Raven. It probably would have worked with her and Andrew. And they did bring up Andrew, so they did like a little funny thing where they were putting on the eye drops. Because if you guys watched the series, Andrew was pretending like he was crying. He like put eye drops in his eye and he's like, okay, are we rolling? And then he's like, I was so hurt. So I thought, you know, he was just being a jerk and an asshole, but good for him. Whatever. He also looked way too young for Nancy, and I'm sorry because Nancy seems like a really nice, good person. I just think that she probably needs to date an older guy just so that, I don't know, whatever. I don't know. But no one was a match for her on this show. So overall, I'm going to give the entire season, if I had to do A through F, I would give this Love is Blind season 3 a D. It pissed me off more than I was entertained at the end. It held my attention. I didn't like the couples that they picked. They could have been a little bit more interesting. There were some gaslighters, there were some bitches, there were some assholes. So I would have liked to have seen more genuine people. I think SK and Raven is probably the most genuine couple. I didn't like Brennan and Alexa's attitude. Bartise was arrogant. Nancy was Cole was young and immature. Zainab was a bitch. It just was like this whole cast just was So that's my review. I wish it could have been a little bit better. I hope that you guys like this review. Let me know what you guys think. You guys seem to like my review, so maybe I'll review something else. We'll see if that will be my next video. Stay tuned. Please go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you give the season A through F. And yeah, let's get down in the comments and let's talk about it. Sorry if I offended anyone. It wasn't my intentions. I'm just being honest. If you guys want an honest, I'm gonna give it. So I hope I didn't hurt anyone's feelings. If I did, I'm sorry. Maybe next time. All right, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.